Before we get started on the video, I would like to take a moment to say thanks to all my patrons, because I wouldn't be able to keep doing this without you, so thank you so much for all your support. I'd also like to say thanks to Richter and Scott for their tier 4 sub this month, and special thanks to James Bond for his tier 5 sub again this month. I've decided to challenge myself to create a game in Unity by using as few assets and other programs as possible. The first thing I wanted to create was a character, so I made one out of 3D boxes. When the character was done, I needed to add some empty game objects that I could use as joints. These joints will be very useful when animating the character. After that, I added some prototype materials to the character and started animating. The first animation I needed to create was a walk animation. Later I would of course create other animations for performing other actions. When the animation was done, it was time to write some simple code to test it out. And as you can see, it worked pretty well. I needed my character to be able to farm different materials. The first material I wanted to farm was wood, and for this purpose I needed a model of a tree. It was a long process to create the tree because I wanted to give it some shape and not just put a box on top of a cylinder. In the upcoming clips you'll see that I'll be using some other tree models, and these are simply some placeholders that I used before I created this one. In the end I'll of course swap out the placeholders with this one. And there we have it, a tree made from box objects. Before chopping down the tree, I would have to make the character walk up next to it and stop, which is a pretty simple task. Before chopping down the tree, I would have to make the character walk up next to it and stop, which is a pretty simple task. Then I had to make an animation for chopping down the tree. I went for something very simple and just made him move his arm up and down. The first attempt was a bit too fast. The second attempt had a bit of speed, however he was just sliding away when he was done chopping down the tree. I tried to fix it, but that just made him walk while chopping down the tree. When I finally fixed that, he ended up skipping away instead of walking away when he was done chopping the tree. Finally, after several attempts, I managed to make him walk away when he was done chopping the tree. I needed the tree to fall over when it was chopped down, so my first solution was to create an animation for it. But that didn't really give me the result I expected. I tried out a lot of different things with animations and scripting, but they never gave me the result that I wanted. In the end I got the best result by using physics to make the tree fall. I know it sounds like the obvious solution, but I really didn't think about it until I had tried a lot of other things. All I had to do now was to trigger the physics when the tree should fall. In the first attempt I forgot to stop triggering them when the tree was dead, so it just kept flying around the map. It was a pretty easy fix, and after that I was able to chop down the trees. And of course this also worked with my own trees. And by adding a few lines of code I was able to make the character chop down the trees and return to the base when the inventory was full. The next thing I wanted to do was to create some kind of animal that I could hunt, so I started to create a horse out of box objects. I was pretty happy with the result when I was done creating the horse, and as you can see the resemblance to a real horse is uncanny. I basically can't tell the difference between the picture of the real horse and the horse that I created in Unity. All that was left to do now was to create a walk animation and then test it out in the game. Now my character just needed a weapon to hunt with, so I decided to create a bow and arrow. When the bow was done, I just had to create an aim and shoot animation. When the animation was done, I used a cylinder and a cube to create the arrow. After that, I just needed to add the arrow to the shoot animation. I then needed to make the character walk to the animal and shoot, and as you can see it took a few attempts before I ended up with a result that I liked. When the animation worked, I had to instantiate an arrow and fire it towards the animal. As you can see, I finally managed to make the arrow shoot forward towards the target. However, there is still something I needed to fix, because the arrows would get stuck inside the animal and stay there while they were moving, which caused the animal to move as well. After a few adjustments, I was finally ready to test out the aim and shoot mechanic again. I was pretty sure it was going to work and the result would be amazing.